I cannot wait for the Olympia, man. This is going to be sick,
The
dude.
person who is probably the most glad, Bob predicted.
Man,
Bob predicted Nick Walker was going to be eighth at the Olympia.
Well, it was funny because now that you
Can you
mentioned
imagine if Nick would have won?
it would have been the funniest mic drop ever.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So now that the complete scorecards for this year's mighty Pittsburgh Pro are out, let's take a look into Derek Lunsford versus Nick Walker showdown. As majority of the fans out there, they are calling it the robbery of the year, or some are even calling it the robbery of the decade. Now the thing is, we knew this was coming because the crowd that was very Nick friendly, especially after the prejudging, and 99% of the people out there, including myself, we had Nick Walker winning after the prejudging. And that is exactly what we see in the scorecards too. Nick Walker was leading by just 1 point after the morning show. But like I mentioned in my last video, that Derek came back so much better for the final, and he was ahead of Nick by 1 point. And both these guys were tied after the finals. And for the first time ever in the history of bodybuilding, we had a tiebreaker to decide who's gonna be the winner of the first ever Pittsburgh Pro in the men's open bodybuilding. So there are so many comments out there on every single bodybuilding media platform out there, on every single post about the Pittsburgh Pro, that there was just no way Derek could have won this one. And this is gonna be a show which will always be remembered as the one where politics got involved, or at the very least, majority of the fan base, they will remember it as a very controversial call.
The result, obviously I had Nick winning. From what it sounds like, everybody in the crowd had Nick winning. The live commentary, Dennis, Fawad, Ian, all had Nick winning. A lot of the people that I spoke to that were there in person, but everybody I spoke to that was there in person had Nick winning. With what it looks like, about 90% of the people that watched the live stream all had Nick winning.
And truthfully, I must say, even though I was of the opinion that Derek could win this show after the finals, but it would have been better for the IFBB and the entire Pro League, and also for the world of bodybuilding, if they gave it to Nick Walker, even seeing it from business perspective, because that could have made the Olympia this year a lot more interesting. And I'm not just saying this, that should carry any kind of weightage, because the thing is, had Nick Walker won, no one would have complained. In fact, majority of the people out there, they would have been more happy. So why did the judges? They gave their decision in the favor of Derek. Well, at this point, we can only speculate. But in my opinion, there is only one logical explanation. That the judging criteria, even for the men's open bodybuilding, that is inclined massively towards more aesthetics and more shapely guys. And the fact is, we are seeing this trend for the past couple of years now. And nobody can dispute that Derek has more eye-pleasing shape. He has more pronounced V-taper, a barracks frame, which in my opinion made him the winner tonight. Because as far as the muscularity and the conditioning goes, I think Nick was superior in both those aspects, and that too in majority of the shots, except in the glutes area. So the upper back of Derek, that was totally insane, as expected. But Nick's back, that was also pretty damn solid. And that is why this is one of those shows that will be a tough pill to swallow for Nick Walker and for his fans. And did you guys know what just happened? The HD Muscle, the current sponsors of Nick Walker, they fired back big time at the IFBB judges and also their decision for this year's Pittsburgh Pro by putting up a sale with a code robbery and each one of their athlete that is currently promoting this on their story. Now let's have a look at all the public reactions by some big names in the bodybuilding industry who also questioned this decision of Derek winning this one. Now we have to keep in mind, some of these guys like Wesley Vazers, Jordan Hutchison, they also predicted post-prejudging that Nick is gonna win this show. Now we had the reaction of Nathan Diesha, who too had Nick Walker winning.
I'm obviously, guys know I'm a fanboy. I love Derek as a human being, great guy. I had Nick winning it. What did you guys think? Well, if Nick comes like that to the Olympia, mate, it's no more Samson, Derek, Hadi. Nick is in for the title.
So Fabian Sylvian also questioned this decision publicly. But Phil Heath, the 7 times Miss Olympia, who was there in attendance, He had Derek winning on that detailed RX muscle breakdown.
His dream should. Okay, let's say he won this show,
Right.
and he never win the Olympia.
Yeah, that's
Really?
not good. Yeah.
So in his mind, he's got to think, what's my main goal? To win the Olympia. Okay, qualify for the Olympia, get some get back. That's what makes the sport so special.
So I guess we will all have to wait and see for Tile Mannion's breakdown of this year's Pittsburgh Pro on how many poses did Derek win over Nick Walker. And I have got a feeling that Derek must have won both the side shots, the side chest, and the side triceps, possibly both the back shots. And he possibly would have won the front double biceps, and also that front lat spread that would have gone either way just by the smallest of margins. So by this time, most of you guys out there must have heard that Derek has announced that he won't be competing at the upcoming New York Pro. And after seeing him in Pittsburgh, now looking as sharp as he did for the Arnold Ohio this year, there is gonna be a serious concern whether he can peak 100% for the Olympia this year or not. And although Nick Walker lost here, which most of the people out there see this as a robbery, but this performance that puts him right into that Olympia conversation, because the Olympia this year, that is no longer gonna be a three-man show. With Samson Dauda, Derek and Hadi Choopan, you have to put Nick Walker in there as well, because even though he lost, he just pushed a great version of Derek to the absolute limits tonight. So Nick was spotted celebrating with his family at his favorite spot, the Cheesecake Factory, after the show last night. So a night off, that is very much deserved. And although he hasn't made the official announcement about the New York Pro, but we can be 100% sure that he will jump into that show and secure his Olympia spot there, and as soon as he possibly can. Honestly, there is one Olympian who is gonna be there at the New York Pro who wasn't here in Pittsburgh, and that is Regan Grimes. But I do not see him or anyone posing a real threat to Nick Walker in New York.
Say cheese. And there's Mom, staring at her phone per usual. Tracy. Not engaging with the people.
So Martin getting third place, that was also a very tough call for many fans out there, since they had William Bonac winning over Martin, especially during the prejudging, because Martin just came in way off, and this can be seen on the scorecards as well. It was a lot closer at the prejudging than it was at the final. But that being said, William Bonac is such a living legend, and it's about time people start putting more respect on his name. So of all the years that most of us have been following pro bodybuilding, this was the closest scorecard we have ever seen. Just look at the results of this year's Classic Physique. It wasn't a slam dunk by Terence Ruffin either. And honestly, Josema Beast, he got very close to beating Terence here. So Terence has already announced that he's in for this upcoming New York Pro. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if Josema Beast also puts his name out there for the round 2. Because the thing is, Terence has to come in off just by a hair for Jose Manuel to get a win over him. And I do feel like Jose Manuel, he's a real threat to every single top Classic Physique competitor, especially in that back double biceps. That is how solid his back is. He can go toe to toe with anyone. The conditioning in those hamstrings and the glutes, that is simply untouchable. So with this victory, Terence locks his Olympia spot for this year. Josema Beast on the other hand, he will have to do at least one more show to get the Olympia qualification. So this was a very well organized first ever Pittsburgh Pro. And although the People's Champ, he lost here, the standard has been set. And this will quickly become the biggest bodybuilding show for many top guys to jump in, especially in the middle of the season, especially because of the prize money. So do let me know what you guys think about these scorecards. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.